right, thank you, Malcolm. Once again, pleasant afternoon, everyone. Thanks for making time, joining us in this session today, discovering what are the current changes and happenings in Bordeaux. All right, so before we continue into the second part of today's seminar, so I just want to get some insights from all of us here. As Malcolm shared, wine is all about people and places and diversity. And of course, we are very happy here today to have fellow friends from the local industry, from different aspects, importers, distributors, retailers, and of course, most importantly, people who have enjoyed and appreciated wine at different seasons or different times. As Malcolm mentioned, quite often old guards or people whom are our predecessors, seniors that we look for inspiration. So perhaps one or two of you here could share, those who have started drinking Bordeaux wines perhaps since the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, what are those few main contrasting differences that perhaps you have perceived or felt in comparison to Bordeaux today? Anyone? In terms of taste, packaging, prices. Anyone? Any Bordeaux wine lovers here since 80s, 90s, or anyone who have tasted old vintages, collectors of old Bordeaux vintages, and have you attended any tastings recently that contrasted old vintages of Bordeaux to current ones? Anyone to start the ball rolling? All right, so I guess I've asked this question in recent seminars and workshops that we have held in Malaysia, throughout Malaysia, in KL, Penang, or even in East Malaysia. So I guess one of the distinct things that we can see, which has changed pretty much, and of course we can feel it right away, are the exorbitant astronomical prices of Bordeaux today, especially the top tier ones, thanks to friends like Jack Ma, and of course, billionaires in China and rest of Asia, number one. Number two, of course, those who are always very sensitive or pays a lot of focus in wine tasting. I'm sure you have a friend or colleague when you're doing wine tasting. The first thing they ask is not what's the label, what's the cepage, but what's the alcohol. Right? Alcohol seems to be a very important factor or characteristics of wine, or be it any alcoholic beverages. And people generally have the assumption or the misconception that the lower alcohol not so good, higher alcohol better. Right? And it cuts across all sorts of alcoholic beverage, not only wine. Right? So we can see that the alcohol percentage of Bordeaux wines today are generally much higher in contrast to perhaps Bordeaux 20, 30 years ago. All right, and of course it's got to do with, of course, global warming, and of course general current consumer preferences and styles, which we will see in the following slides. And since I've excited your thoughts a little bit, perhaps in terms of the differentiation that's got to do perhaps in terms of price increase and the styles, in terms of alcoholic content, perhaps someone could point out something that is different about Bordeaux then and now. Anybody has had the pleasure of visiting chateaus in Bordeaux in the 90s? Yes.
I think maybe some evolution is that now probably, and it's not only a concern about Bordeaux, it's probably from all the different regions, it's more biological wine.
Okay.
Also wines come from a sustainable agriculture,
okay,
or biodynamic.
Okay.
So I think there is an emergence of all these trends, right, also in Bordeaux.
Okay, excellent observation. So once again, one of the key differences that we can see is a current focus, right, or current poise towards healthier wines in general, organic, biodynamic viticulture, especially organic wines that has been trending. And of course, as we see the history of illustrious regions, not only like Bordeaux, but also Burgundy, all right, so organic or even biodynamic viticulture has been in practice since hundreds of years ago. It was only in the 70s and 80s, in the age of industrialization, so to speak, and of course of controlling diseases, all right, so most of the producers or vineyard owners were a bit too enthusiastic in killing the bugs in their vineyard, so they they had too heavy a hand in terms of using chemicals, right? And that affected, I mean, of course, the health and the physiology of the wines. And of course, then again, it's a circle, as we all know, the circle of life. What was trendy before might not be trendy at a certain point of time, but now it is coming back again. All right, so 3 key observations that we have shared and come together in terms of price, in terms of alcohol, and of course, the focus into what we call biodynamic or organic viticulture. All right, so let's proceed to the slides for today. All right, so this